Welcome to this short tutorial in which I'm going to show you how to create a test session in the new Tabe Online user interface. Now this goes for Tabe Adaptive as well, so feel free to follow along. Now I have just logged into my Tabe Online site, and when you log in, the first place you come to is Manage Sessions. But if you happen to be someplace else, doing something else, you can go into the Assessments tab up here, Manage Sessions, and I will click on this. So you can see that you end up right where I was before. All right, so if I want to schedule a new test session, you can see I don't have any scheduled in this account so far. I can do one of two things. I can schedule a session by either schedule a test session button up here on the top or using the plus button on the very bottom. So I'll click on the plus button. And the schedule session screen comes which of these assessments. Now let's take a look at what's in this screen. Please check with your
First thing we
site
see here
administrator
is the test group,
and inside of this test group is a selection of all of the different Tabe Online options that we have here. All right, so the first one we see here is the Tabe Online Complete Battery, and this offers the full extent of each of the Tabe subtests. The second one is the Tabe 10 Online Survey. These are a selection of about half of the Complete Battery's items. The survey takes about half as long as the Complete Battery, and you'll see the same reports, but the standard error will be a little bit higher. Either of these versions is approved by the NRS and will give valid and reliable results. Now the next one down here we see is the Tabe Online Locator. This is a short test that can help you place your students in the correct Tabe test. All right. Now finally, let's take a look. We have the Tabe 9 and 10 online tutorial. This may be useful for students who would benefit from a walkthrough of the system, but it is completely optional. Let's go into the tests box now. That's this big box here on the left side. This is the test that you've selected. So let me quick go here. If you look at the online survey, if I choose online survey, the test name is going to change to online survey. So I'm just going to go back to the Tabe 10 Online Complete Battery right here. Now, I'm going to highlight this and click on it, and all of a sudden you see that this big window on the right side opens up. All right, this first box here, it says Allow Test Breaks. As you can see, this adds additional access codes for each subtest. These access codes will change. Now, if I uncheck it, the access code changes to, in this case, FEDER 4299. The system chooses an access code. It creates one, so you don't have to worry about that. But although you can make a change if you want. So if I allow test breaks, this will help with security, especially for those who, like many, take different sections of the test at different times. If you do not allow test breaks, then students will still be able to take breaks between subtests, but the same access code will be used for each section. So I am going to allow for test breaks, and we'll move on to the next one. This random distractor box here is our next one. You won't see any change if I check the box or uncheck the box. Checking the random distractor box will randomize the order in which any student will view the selection of possible answers. It is optional and it's offered as an additional security measure. All right, this locator checkbox allows you to give the locator test and have it automatically determine which subtests each student should be placed into. An important side note for the locator test: if this box is checked, you will not get a locator test report. Remember, a locator test report tells you which level subtest to assign to each student based solely on the results of the locator test. You may have additional information such as prior test scores or prior grades, or even maybe an interview or a conversation that leads you to believe that you should modify these results. So if you want the system to automatically assign Tabe tests, check this box. Make sure this box is checked. If you want to review the locator test results and perhaps modify the suggestions, do not check this box and instead assign the locator test independently to the student. Notice that because we have selected the online locator test, all of these checkboxes here are offering the locator test as well. But let's say I did not want to offer the locator test for math computation. I can customize this a little bit. There's a little alert here that says removing the math computation will also remove applied math. Do you wish to continue? If I click OK, it's going to remove the locator test for both sections of the math test because the locator test is tied to an entire subject in this case. If I add one, it's going to force me to add both. If I remove the reading test, it'll also remove vocabulary. So this ensures that the locator test is giving you the maximum amount of value and that you still have some flexibility in terms of how it is applied in your program. Finally, we're going to look at the Modify Test button. So I clicked on the Modify Test button and you can see that all of the subtests are available in the selected subtest box. Let's say I want to modify it a little bit and I only want to use the math subtests. I'm going to move applied math over and I'm going to move math computation over. There aren't any other available math subtests, so here's the selected subtest list that I want. But let's say I want math computation to be given in front of applied math. So I'm going to just highlight it and move it up, and there we have it. I've changed the order. Simple as that. Now all I do is click OK, and you can see that we have modified the Tabe 10 online complete battery that we're going to offer, and it's only going to include the math subtest here. The next section we will look at is our test details box. So I go down here, click on test details, and the first option I'm given is to change the test session name. Now you can see that this test session always defaults to the specific Tabe test that was chosen in our previous screen. So I'm going to change this into something else. Now, we highly recommend that your organization agree on a naming convention and that you stick to it. Come up with something creative that works for your organization and then just stick to it. So I'm going to call this test session name Mrs. Smith Math Tuesday. I'm going to give it a start date of the 23rd and I'm going to give it an end date of the 25th. The next box we come down to is the time window. It defaults to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. But what I'm going to do is narrow that time window to 8 a.m. to noon. This time zone is the time for which the test window will be open. It does not have anything to do with where your organization might be headquartered or anything like this. This is specific to this test session itself. Test location box, this just gives a little more detail around the test itself. This last box is the Group May View window. In my login, I cannot see anything other than the overarching hierarchy site CTB New Tabe Online Trial State. In your group window, you may be able to access a drop-down window which simply gives you access to other sites or perhaps even classes to which you can assign this specific test session. We're nearing the end here. Next, we're going to add a student to this test session. So I've clicked on the Add a Student button, and then I simply go to the Add a Student button on the top right, and now I look for the student I wish to select. I'm going through my different groups, and I know that my students are located with the Tabe training site, and they're located specifically within my demo site. So you can see I've loaded a number of students. My sign here says that I've used 0 out of 10 licenses, which makes sense because we're just creating this test session right now. And I am going to choose 3 people. So now you can see this used alert here says I've used 3 out of 10 licenses, but it's as simple as that. I just choose the people I'm looking for and then I press OK. I click the OK button. Now we can see that 3 students are added to the roster. If I want to add a few more, I can still do that, but I think we're good here. And finally, we can choose a proctor. Now, I don't have any proctors in this particular site, but choosing a proctor is optional. Allowing a proctor to have limited access to the administrative site is an easy way to spread the workload while maintaining a higher degree of security. So if you wish to choose a proctor, you would simply click on this Add a Proctor button. You would search in your organization for the proctor you're looking for. Here's somebody who is assigned as a proctor. I can assign them here, and we're done. Now I click the Save button, and this is the final step to scheduling a test session. I click Save. It commits it to the system, and you can see that my test session name of Mrs. Smith Math Tuesday is ready to go. If I want to make any changes to it, I can do so as long as no one has started taking that test. Once somebody has taken that test, even one person, this test session, many of its features become locked. If I want to look at it, I can simply double click. I can get back into the Select Test Detail box. I can get into the test details. I can add more students. I can add proctors. Whatever I choose to do, I can do. I'm just going to cancel it here because we are already done. And that's it. That is how you add a test session in the new Tabe user interface. Thanks for watching.